And we are live, man. It is good to be back. It is good to be back. We have a lot to talk about today. I know a lot of y'all want to hear about the trip, stuff like that. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. We've got some seriously important things to talk about, including, Trump has just lost his damn mind. And I have told you forever he has pudding from range, but he's actually confirmed that for us. But we've got several major things going on, including I've been taking a look at the ballroom, and those numbers just aren't adding up. There's just, let's just get into it. Let's just dig right into it. Man, it is good to be back. It is really good to be back. I have missed you folks. I have missed you folks a lot. Before we get into the main news that we want to talk about, there's something that's gone viral. It's in the news. It's scaring people a lot, and I want to just kind of tamp this down a little bit. This happened. We had a truck crash in Mississippi, near the Mississippi-Alabama border there, that was carrying monkeys, rhesus monkeys. They're test monkeys. A lot of people don't agree with testing on live animals, but it goes on. Um, Looking for clicks and headlines, and people searching for clicks on social media. A lot of people are talking about, oh, these monkeys had hep C, these monkeys had herpes, these monkeys had COVID, and they're loose. They're loose. Couple of things wrong with that. One, these monkeys, they're not loose. There's one still missing. Just one still missing. But on top of that, no, they're not a bunch of diseased monkeys. These were Tulane University, their biomedical research facility. They breed monkeys for research. That's what these were. They were going to another facility for research. They were not monkeys that had undergone research. They don't ship those monkeys that way. That's dangerous, folks. I mean, you're talking about releasing dangerous pathogens out into society if something like this happens. That's why they don't do that. These monkeys were on their way to be tested, not they had been tested. So no, they don't have, all kinds of, they may have, herpes is hard to control in these. Anyways, I'm getting too deep into the weeds, but no, they don't have hep C, they don't have COVID, they don't have, that is just clickbait talking points, and let's just put that to rest. And there's no reason for everybody to be really scared and worried in Mississippi. Now, if you see a rhesus monkey out in the wild, because there is one still loose, don't mess with it. These are not human friendly animals. They aren't. You've got to be a professional to handle one of these. So yeah, let's be careful. Let's be careful. But let's get right into it. Donald Trump confirmed what I've been telling you. He's got pudding for brains for a long time. I've been pointing, when he does something, when something happens, I say, look, take a look at this. Take a look at this. Uh, Ollie, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for supporting the show. And you're right. A bolo would look good with this, wouldn't it? It would. It would. Abrego Garcia, good to see you, Paul. I'm glad you're always here, brother. Glad you're always here. I am. But look, we talk about Trump, and when something happens that's just obvious he's having cognitive difficulties, we point it out because it's a problem. It is a problem. We are a rudderless ship, man. Normally, the way it works is you've got a strong president that has people around him that are sailing together with him. We don't have that here. The president doesn't micromanage the government, but he does set policy. And the people around him respond to the policy he sets. They do his bidding, for lack of a better way to put it. We don't have that here. We don't. Trump is gone. He has pudding for brains, and everybody around him is just doing their own damn thing. And Trump confirmed it for us. He did. Let me play a clip for you, and we'll get into it. Spicy Justice says, apparently there are reports of a large orange monkey on the loose. And we miss you, Texas Paul. So much crazy has happened since your last broadcast. I feel like you've been gone a year. Oh man, I tell you, it was a much needed trip. And I got to tell you, Boston, No Kings at Boston was incredible. It was incredible. The energy, the people. Anyways, we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But yeah, let's get into this. This is Trump in his own words. And I want to take a second to shout out to Asin. He and Aaron Rupar are national treasures. If you're not following them, I don't know what you're doing with your life. They take these press conferences and they slice out the stupid, useless shit and give you the main talking points. They are priceless. You need to follow them. There's so much information out there. Having somebody that will take the bullet for you is priceless. And Asin and Aaron Rupar do this amazingly. It would be so much harder to do this show if I could not rely on their work. But yeah, this is Trump on Air Force One.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have...
Okay. Couple things to unpack here. And the first one is, and we'll come back to this. We will come back to this. And play this clip again here in a minute. But one of the first things I want to unpack is don't fall into the trap. There are some people on social media that are spreading this. This is the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, or MOCA. This is the test that they're giving to Trump. But here's the thing. They're posting this image, which is just one version of it. And they're pointing out that he said that there was like a giraffe and an elephant. When they show this picture, it has a lion, a rhinoceros, and a camel. They're saying they're putting this as though, well, he screwed that portion of the test up, and look how obvious it is. And so, folks, the MOCA test it comes in different varieties. There can be a horse there. There can be a pig there. There can be any number of different animals there. Just because you have a picture of one version of the test doesn't mean anything. And if you hang your hat on that, folks, you're going to give the right wingers an excuse to say that you're just biased. So yeah, don't fall into the clickbaiters. Don't do it. There's plenty to talk about this that proves he has pudding for brains than falling into that trap. But yeah, the MOCA test, they don't just give that to you for no reason. They don't do it because it's Tuesday and they're bored. There's a reason. The reason you've never heard of the Montreal Cognitive Assessment Test is because you've never needed one. Yeah, there's only specific reasons you get that particular test. Again, they don't do that because it's Tuesday and they're bored. Rod Slater, glad you enjoyed Boston. Good to see you back. Boston's incredible, people. It is incredible. It is. We're going to talk about it later on the show, but it is incredible. Peter Campbell, Kimmel was offered to do a pay-per-view of AOC, JC versus Trump live on TV. Welcome. All right, let's dig into it. Let's dig into it. First of all, this is Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine, he being the bigot he is, he went after two people of color, and the misogynist he is, he went after two women. But let's just dig into a minute for just a minute. Jasmine is a graduate of Rhodes College in Tennessee. It's a private college. Most people haven't really heard of Rhodes. It's a private college, but it is a very well rated institution. It is a good college. It is. She got her law degree from the University of Houston. Now look, I'm just going to like blow my own horn here for a little bit. I'm going to brag on Texas for just a little bit. I know you're going to hear University of Houston and you're going to think, what? That's not Harvard. That's not. Let me tell you something about the University of Houston law program. Okay. National average for people graduating and passing the bar is about 70-ish to mid 70s%, depending on the year. Last year we had a particularly bad year. Only 61% of graduates passed the bar. You hear what I'm saying? University of Houston comes in at 86% of their graduates pass the bar. And an astronomically high number, I don't remember the number. I'm sure U of H grad will be willing to correct me on this if I read the wrong number, but it is an astronomically high number of U of H grads, law school grads, go on to get jobs compared to the nation. It is a well above average school as far as results are concerned. I mean, she is sharp as they come. And I don't mean she's sharp just because she's naturally sharp. I mean, she was honed on some very, 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 very good stones. I mean, U of H is a good school, and she did very well there. Vincent Day, welcome back. Good to see you again. I'm so glad to be back. I missed you folks. I missed you folks a lot. I did. Mr. Pilks, didn't Coco the gorilla pass? Yes, yes, yes. Yes, they gave Coco the gorilla the mocha test just to prove that they weren't training her. There was some question: are they just is it just a trick? Are they just training her to respond in certain way? No, they gave her the. She passed. She did. But this is AOC. This is AOC. AOC graduated cum laude with honors from Boston University. Again, very, very good school. Not far from where I was staying up in Boston. She is sharp as hell. She would kick the shit out of Donald Trump in any kind of cognitive test. These are very, very, very sharp people. So let's just get that off the board. The misogyny, the bigotry, and the attack in Democrats. That's the red meat to the base. That's where they got distracted. That's where they fell off. So ignore that. Let's play that clip again and listen to what he says. Because the important stuff is not the bullshit attack on Democrats. Listen to it again.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe,
Sorry. Sorry. Muted myself. I want to stop right there for just a second. I do. I want to stop right there for just a second. I apologize. I know I said I was going to play it all the way through, but I do want to pause it right there for just a second. He says that he took an aptitude test or something. I guess it may have been a cognitive test. And you can tell in his own words, he's not exactly sure. He's having a great deal of difficulty recalling. And let me explain something to you. If you take a cognitive test, if you're given a cognitive test, it's a stressful situation. Again, they don't do it just because it's Tuesday and you're bored and they're bored. Hey, let's see how you're doing. And again, yeah, he says it's somewhat hard. No, they're not. They're not really hard. The whole point is to get an assessment of, how are you doing on day-to-day average things? I mean, draw a clock at a specific time, things like that. These are not hard. But if you were given a cognitive test, that if your cognitive abilities are still intact, you were given a cognitive test and you know why you were given a cognitive test. So does Donald Trump. If his brain was intact, and it's clearly not. He is struggling just to remember basic things. Nobody calls their cognitive test an aptitude test. Totally unrelated things. But let's continue on.
When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
Please read out.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have.
Okay. Let's get rid of that. Folks, you would do well on a MOCA test. You would do well. These are not hard. They're not designed to be hard. They're not designed to trick you. They're designed to assess how much basic shit is your brain still, able to process. What can you recall? I mean, how intact are your neurons? How much damage has been done? That's what these tests are designed to assess. The questions are designed so that you access different portions of your brain to answer these questions, to make sure you've still got good communication between the different portions of your brain, because your brain does different things in the different regions. Beautiful baby, I'm so glad you're back. I missed your words, but I'm glad to be here. I am truly glad to be here. Thank you for supporting the show. Again, cannot do it without you, folks. Cannot do it without you. Yeah, the brain's different regions do different things. And I know I'm not going to glaze your eyes over with something. We're just going to Cliff's Notes this, okay? The reason stroke victims have so many problems in their frontal lobe, and why the frontal lobe is so problematic when somebody has a stroke, because strokes occur all over the brain. They really do. Where it occurs depends on what it affects. Cognitive tests, your short-term memories are stored in your frontal lobe. If you're healthy and over time you get plenty of sleep, you do, those short-term memories will be imprinted into other portions of your brain as you access this. There's I can't remember what they're called, the certain circuits. You have to forgive me. My brain's not functioning really well right now. But there's a type of, named after the doctor that discovered it. But, your thoughts process through different neurons in your brains. Those short-term memories are stored in other portions of your brain. They are. And if you can't access, these tests are specifically designed to make different portions of your brain act in unison, act in concert, to work together, so they can assess what damage is done where. Okay? They're not hard. They're hard if you have brain damage. That's when they get hard. They get hard when you're in situations like this. And this is, again, incredibly telling. When the president goes to a state function or a state event, you have briefings ahead of time. And no, I don't mean the kind of briefings that Trump cannot do. Okay. I'm not talking about, they don't hand you a brief and say, read this. No, you have staff that travels with you on Air Force One that put together, they work with whoever's hosting you. In this case is Japan. Whoever's hosting you, they work with those folks that have everything coordinated there, and they work out, okay, they're going to walk hand in hand. You remember the disaster with Trump in England where he kept walking in front of the Queen of England. Okay, he was briefed on that. They have people that say, okay, this is what's going to happen. You're going to meet this person. This is their status. This is how you typically greet that person. They're told in advance where they're going to walk. They're told who they're going to meet. They're told a little bit about who they're going to meet, because the president meets so many people. You want them to know a little bit about who they're meeting and what their significance is. If you understand how choreographed these things are. And yes, you are briefed in person. There is a human being that stands in front of you. They don't just, again, hand you something where Trump doesn't read and Trump has a hard time keeping track of. No, this is a person talking to you that lays this out. And then look how disastrously this went. Michael LaRosa 519 says, why doesn't anyone ask the question, what region of the body was your MRI performed? Welcome back, Texas Paul. The fact that he had a cognitive, we're going to jump ahead there. Thanks to your question. I was going to get there, sum this up, but the fact that they're doing both cognitive tests, and this wasn't just his annual physical because it was only 6 months in, and MRIs tell you that he is having brain problems. He's had a stroke, folks. He has had a stroke, and they're trying to assess the damage from that stroke. That is what's going on. But I want you to take a look at this and how poorly his short-term memory, the frontal lobe of his brain, is performing. Okay? I just explained to you, he was briefed by a person that he trusts. You have to trust that person. You have to work with that person. He knows the person that briefs him on this stuff. Okay? And watch what happens here in Japan. Forgive the quality of this video. Now look, folks, this one wasn't difficult. This wasn't like meeting the Queen. This was just a simple, you're going to walk around the room. There's going to be a band. You're going to walk by Japanese soldiers and do a review of the soldiers. Then you're going to meet members of the Japanese parliament and administration. And then he is so exactly. Just a simple stroll around the room. That was it. I want you to think about that, folks. I mean, there was nothing deep. He looked, Mr. Robick says right here, he looks so freaking, because he is lost. He has no clue what he is supposed to be doing. None whatsoever. Because his frontal lobe is damaged. He has short-term memory problems. But they won't tell us. They won't tell us what's going on because they know This entire cult hinges on Donald Trump. And I agree with you. Robin Hood, I agree with you. It's almost elder abuse. It really is. They're parading him around like a freaking puppet. And he's clueless. He is clueless. The only thing he can comment on is stuff that he heard years ago. The only thing he can do and look even mildly competent is from things that happened years ago. Anything that he has to deal with is he just gets lost. He can't talk on those issues. He ends up, and they try to call it the weave. It's not a weave. It's he cannot remember anything. His short-term memory is gone. Imagine him meeting with heads of state and them trying to have relevant conversations about arms deals, about conflicts, about anything that's just happening today. And he's freaking clueless. And folks, that's why it just goes so poorly for him whenever he speaks. You know, this is him with at a teleprompter talking through, and you could have heard a pin drop. He's talking to our troops, addressing our troops in Japan, and you could have just heard a pin drop. Again, this is Aaron Rupar. Follow these guys. They are priceless. Empower your own social media. They are priceless.
Inflation. Back home, we had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Energy costs are down. You know, energy costs are way down. Gasoline prices are way down. Grocery prices are way down. We have a little problem with beef. We're going to get that down very quickly, but the prices are way down. Mortgage rates are down despite having an incompetent head of the Fed. I call him too late. He's always too late. He's too late in lowering interest rates. I call him Jerome Too Late Powell. Inflation.
That's with a teleprompter. That's the kind of things they have to put up in front of him just to keep his attention, just to keep him flowing and functioning when he's addressing our troops. Now, I want you to compare, go back and compare this to any other president and the speeches they give and the issues they speak about. This is nonsensical stupidity. And it's fiction. I mean, no, energy prices are not down. This is all stuff that they're in trouble over. So they just tell the cult something that's just an out and out lie, and they eat it up. Grocery prices are definitely not down. They're fudging the numbers. I had to laugh. I saw a report the other day that said grocery prices are up 4%. 4%, my ass. My ass. My grocery bill is up probably 30%. I don't know. I don't know how these people sleep at night. I don't. I don't know how these people sleep at night. These are real issues that the American people are facing, and we have no leadership. We have no leaderships at all. And it just shows. It just shows. Glenn Kaneko, he's not blaming Biden anymore. Now it's Obama's fault. I know, because he can remember Obama's name. That's why it is so stupid. Everything, every speech, every comment, everything just sounds so ridiculously stupid because it's not relevant to today's issues. And you know that because you don't have cognitive decline. You know what's going on in the world today. So you hear Donald Trump talk about it, and all he can talk about is shit from 8 years ago, 6 years ago. Because that's the only thing that imprinted into his long-term memory and other portions of his brain. And he's telling us, folks, he's telling us, I had an MRI at Walter Reed. Why? Why did you, folks? They don't do MRIs for no reason. Not even for the president, folks. Not even for the president. Those scans aren't free. And I don't mean the cost. I'm talking there's a physical cost to exposing yourself to that kind of those kind of magnetic forces, folks. I mean, it's just, they don't do them for no reason. He's telling you they're giving him cognitive tests. The reason you don't know what a MOCA test is, the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, is because you've never needed one. Why is he getting one? And they're lying. They are flat out lying. And our press, who spent years screwing with Joe Biden over his age, are just lost. I mean, my God, could you imagine if this had been Joe Biden and he just casually drops out there that, oh, yeah, I had an MRI at Walter Reed? The questions, this would have been a 2-week news cycle. They would have been expending, there would have been no limit to the amount of resources that they put forward to try to find out what MRI, what did they scan, what were the results. And you've got no one in the corporate media asking any questions about this. Why are you why are you taking cognitive tests? Why are you taking cognitive tests? That basic question. Well, we know why. Because he's had a stroke, because he's not all there, and they don't want that answer coming out. Firefly 25A, I've been thinking we have to present this to MAGA in a way so they feel like Donald is being taken advantage of by those around him, so they can comfortably worship him and accept that our government is being hijacked by bad actors. I don't have a lot of faith in MAGA. I don't. I think they would just stick their fingers in their ears and say, la, 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 la. Fake news, fake news. Oh, Key Sensation says, while you were gone, my coffee was not better than anyone's. I'm sorry to hear that. I am truly sorry to hear that. I'm telling you, a good cup of coffee is necessary to get through things. It just is. I don't know what I would do. They want to take old Texas Paul out. Just take my coffee. But yeah, folks, this isn't hard. This isn't hard. And he's confirming it out of his own mouth. He is. He's telling you. I had to have an MRI 6 months after. Okay, so we had an MRI for a specific reason. They won't tell us why. That means it's bad. That means it's bad. If it was good, if the results were good, they would be holding them up in a press. Caroline Leavitt would be waving them around the room if the news was good. Yeah. And it's not. And you can see over and over and over again. That's why they have him out of the country. That's why he's in Japan. We're in the middle of a shutdown that is going horribly bad for Republicans because they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about people. You've got the Democrats fighting to make sure people's healthcare insurance costs don't explode. And you've got the Republicans that in the last 80 days have taken 60 days off. This is blowing up all over them. And the last thing they need is Mango Mussolini here, Papa Pudding Brains out here in front of a camera. So they sent him elsewhere. And I got to tell you, I got into a conversation with a TSA employee, and I was just thanking everybody when I was going through airports. And I was thanking everybody. Because they're not getting paid. TSA is not getting paid. They're dealing with all the shit they normally deal with, and they're not getting paid. And this one lady turned around and said, yeah, now we got to wait for that dumbass to come back from China. And I was like, whoa. I didn't expect that from a TSA employee. But yeah, people get it. And the last thing they need is Papa Pudding Brains walking around in front of a camera when things are already going horribly bad. So yeah, get rid of them. Send them away. Silly Bebo. They'd stick maxi pads over their ears instead. Yeah, no doubt. They will humiliate themselves in any way. In any way, they will humiliate themselves for this guy. So what do they have him doing? They have him doing things that he's done his whole life, his whole damn life. The ballroom, the Epstein ballroom. This is something Trump's long-term memory can get him through. This is why he's so focused on it. At the absolute worst time. I mean, I think about that. The government is shut down. No one is getting their SNAP benefits. It's just an awful thing. Nobody's getting paid, and they've got him talking about the Epstein ballroom. Marie Antoinette Trump talking about let them eat cake while I'm in my ballroom. But it's all they've got. It's all they've got. And this is the latest. This is the latest. If you haven't seen, Trump fires art commission expected to review Trump's construction projects. Yeah. There's a reason Washington, D.C. looks like it does. I mean, there's a reason it looks like it does. It's the Federal Arts Commission. It was established back on May 17th in the year of our Lord, 1910. And they advise on any project, any major project that's going to happen, to try to protect the aesthetics of our city, our capital. And oh, hell no, Trump doesn't want anybody asking questions at all. This is all being done. This is being contracted out of the White House, folks. Out of the White House. It's supposed to be the White House and the Trumps and the Parks Department are working in unison. No. The money's flowing out of the Parks Department because that's where those donations were going. So that part is legit. The Trust for the National Mall. The Trust for the National Mall is where the funds went. But folks, that doesn't mean shit about how the funds are spent, especially when it's being contracted out of the White House. And it's not looking good, folks. I just sat down and just did some basic math on this. So far, they're talking about they've taken in $375 million. Is the latest number. Bruce Barrows, 1906. Thanks for being here. Late to the party today. Welcome back, Texas Paul. Good to see you. I'm glad you are here, folks. I'm glad you're here. I've missed you people. I can't say it enough how much I missed you people. Michael LaRosa, 519, says the ballroom and the AI fighter jet of Trump dropping excrement on U.S. citizens are the perfect metaphors for this administration. They care nothing about the average citizen. Exactly. This is going horribly for them. Horribly, because you've got a bunch of internet shit posters running our country. So this is the kind of thing we get. But I just want to do a little math for you here. Let's just take their numbers, okay? Let's take their numbers. They're saying the ballroom's going to be 90,000 square feet. And they've taken in $375 million so far. Folks, that's $4,167.67 per square foot. Let me tell you something. If you know anything about building, that number should give you a great amount of pause. Luxury high-rise apartments come in between $1,500 and $2,000 a square foot. Mick Bastard says Epstein Ballroom address 8647 Pennsylvania. I love that 8647 Pennsylvania Avenue. Love it. Peter Campbell, 1693. I know this happens everywhere when a famous building is torn down. They always auction off parts. East Wing went into a garbage shredder. Yep. This is being done out of the White House, and none of it is being done to standards. And there's just a lot of different things we have to look at. And the reason you have to keep in mind, the reason they have Trump doing this is cognitively, this is long-term memory for him. He's been building shit forever. Okay. I mean, yes, he goes bankrupt in everything he builds, but he's been building shit forever. This is his wheelhouse, and it is going like a typical Trump project. Look, let's just take a look at some of the shit they're saying and why this math don't math. Okay, starting with the over $4,000 a square foot. Folks, the only way you get into that kind of money is in special circumstances. Folks, you've got to be building a luxury home hanging off a cliff in Malibu where they have to do all kinds of insane structural engineering. You know, the cliffs just slough away. I mean, they fall away. If you're going to build a luxury house on a cliff in Malibu, you have to completely stabilize that cliff. The amount of foundational work is insane for a build like that. We're talking complete special circumstances. You want to build a house hanging off the side of a mountain, things like that. And it's a super luxury. It's got to be super luxury too, because if you're just talking about a facility, it gets nowhere near $4,000 a square foot. That is an insane number. Concern for humans, data center for AI president when he expires. There's definitely things wrong with this. Pavlon 01 says, welcome back to Jeffrey Epstein Memorial Ballroom / bunker edition. Yeah, even if it was a bunker, it wouldn't matter. It could not get him to the 4,000 per square foot number. Tiger Butterfly, thank you for supporting the show. I'm truly grateful. I mean, you would have to do things like, he would have to be, and I don't want to give that son of a bitch any ideas. But, you know, you would have to be talking about zebra wood flooring. I mean, extremely rare. So, I mean, you know, if you get zebra wood flooring that's engineered, it's $22 to $35 a square foot, depending on the quality of the wood. You know, and that's high-end shit, man. You know, maybe he wants to do some, let's give it to him. Maybe he wants to do African ebony inlays, and this stuff is outrageous. Trust me, as somebody that's getting into woodworking, this stuff is outrageous. African ebony can run you $100 to $150 a board foot, depending on the quality of it. A board foot is 12 by 12 by 1 inch thick. I mean, maybe they want to do ebony inlays and stuff, but it still doesn't get you to that number. It just doesn't. This is a flat build. This is a flat build of just a ballroom. And no, they're not doing any special floors in it or anything like that. There is no, I'm going to say it, there's no fucking way to build this ballroom and get to $4,000 a square foot. No way. You know, we're not talking about they're adding on to the main offices of, you know, or modernizing the main offices of the White House that has all kinds of special technical. No, it's a fucking ballroom, and they're doing it on the cheap. They're doing it on the cheap, folks. They're getting caught with stuff like this. They're just getting embarrassed. And people are, you know, architects are not having this shit. The architect community is having a fit about this ballroom. And they keep catching everything that is going on. And yeah, it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. They used AI. They're using AI to draft this, and it's just stupid shit. You've got stairs that go up into a brick wall. You've got windows that can't open. Everybody's seen this kind of low-end construction stuff. Like, you know, you get two kitchen cabinets, or a kitchen cabinet that is by a dishwasher so that the door won't open, or they've got windows that won't open because they're using AI for this. They're doing it on the cheap. They don't even have like quality people sitting here laying down the plans for this. This is a typical Trump thing. So no, we're talking about the highest of high-end per square foot budgets, and they're doing it on the cheap. And it keeps getting worse the minute you start digging. Like I said, the architects that are looking at this are having a shit fit about this. Ollie, 1976, maybe Canadian Mike Holmes can inspect it. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's crazy. I want you to take a look at this image. And I'll explain what's wrong here. This is what they're saying the footprint for the ballroom is going to be. Folks, that ain't 90,000 square feet. That is not 90,000 square feet. There is no way that's the footprint for this building. And everybody is calling them out on it. Let me give you just a few points of reference. The east wing that is under there, that is in there, was 12,000 square feet. It was 12,000 square feet. And no, that doesn't explain it. No, everybody keeps posting bunker or shed. No, it doesn't even come close to explain it. And I'm going to show you. That building that actually exists in that red square is 12,000 square feet. You math that out. You can see it right there. There's no way that red square represents 90,000 square feet, even on multiple levels. Folks, I want you to look at the main portion of the White House now. That is 6 stories. It protrudes under the ground several stories. There's 2 basements in the White House. There are 6 stories in the White House. And it is 55,000 square feet. There are 2 basements. There's a ground floor. There's a state floor. There's the second floor where the residences are. And then there's a third floor that is some additional bedroom storage and some bathrooms and stuff like that. It is 6 stories tall. And that building, that size, makes up 55,000 square feet. That math don't math, folks, because that ballroom is not 6 stories tall. Not at all. Silly Bebo, thank you for being here, Brittany. I always appreciate you. Are we going to have to go spend more money to fix this fustercluck and get it up to code at the very least? Yeah, that's where this is going. That's where this is going. I mean, do you see what I'm saying there, folks? The main White House is 55,000 square feet, and it is 6 fucking stories. It protrudes underground. There's no way a 90,000 square foot ballroom fits in that footprint. And that's what everybody's screaming. Architects are screaming. It would have to be 1.5 times as wide and damn near twice as long. And no, it's not a fucking bunker. It doesn't explain the square footage at all. There's no way you get 90,000 square feet anywhere near the footprint they're talking about. And folks, I'm telling you, it's a grift in plain sight. The White House is controlling where this money is spent. And they do things like this. You had Alan Weisselberg talking about he added 20,000 square feet to his apartment. Whenever he wanted to go get a loan and he had to value his apartment, he added 20,000 square feet to. He added a fucking floor to his apartment. And I don't mean he literally added it. He just said it was there. That's what they're doing with this ballroom. So that 4,000 plus per square foot number, is even worse, because this ain't going to be a 90,000 square foot ballroom. It's just not. This thing will be so freaking massive, it will dwarf the entire rest of the White House complex. If they actually built it to be 90,000 square feet, it would be the size of the fucking Treasury building that's next to it. They're grifting. He is running the contracting out of the White House. Skeet Sayre, 2018, you know that Trump is demented as he thinks he will actually see this complete. That's the other thing. They're trying to slap it together before he leaves office, because I'm telling you folks, they are milking money out of this somehow. They are milking money out of this somehow. The math doesn't math in any way, shape, or form. The math doesn't math. But even if you did give them just every bit of leeway whatsoever, if you absolutely believed everything they said about this build, all of it, you believed it all, you cannot believe what they're telling you about this is all going to be private. It's not all going to be private. It will never all be private. There are going to be everything Trump builds. There's cost overruns, but even worse than that, if they did pull it off and they did build it, the maintenance on that building is going to be astronomical. And that's the other thing that everybody keeps saying. You've got Carolyn Levitt, bullshit Barbie, sitting there telling you, oh, well, this is all private money building this. This is all private money. And yeah, they're using straight up bribes to build this. 100%. But because it's private money, they're not allowing any accounting for what's going on. That's why everybody was shocked when this demolition happened. This isn't going through GSA and the typical process. This is being run out of the White House, because that's what Poppy Poopy Pants can remember. Because he has got pudding for brains. They have to keep him occupied. And folks, that $375,000 number keeps changing. 2 days ago, it was 300,000. A week before that, it was 250. They keep taking money in to this fund. So that per square foot number keeps growing. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And there's no way to spend it to build this. First of all, that 90,000 square foot ballroom isn't going to fit. It doesn't fit in the footprint that they're talking about. You're talking about a building that'd be 150 feet wide by 450 feet long. You're talking about, to get 90,000 square feet, you would need to take 2 football fields to make a square that's as long and as wide as a football field. It is not going to fit where they're telling you it's going to fit. There's no way that this thing's going to be 90,000 square feet in the footprint that they're showing. So it is either going to be massively larger, or it is not going to make that 90,000 square feet. And that $4,000 per square foot number that we have today that is still growing is going to be much higher. And I can't stress to you enough what a red flag this is, because I'm telling you, to get to $4,000 per square foot, you have to do shit like, you have to like add a floor. Like, say you want to build a custom penthouse on top of an already existing high-rise building, and you've got to fucking re-engineer the building to hold an entire other floor. That's how you get into 4,000 square. And no, I see this a lot too. Gold. No. You could not put enough of that shitty Russian whorehouse looking gold leaf that Donald Trump loves in this fucking White House to come up to get to $4,000 a square foot. Over 4,000. And it's growing. It's going. This is a fucking con in plain sight. This is a ripoff in plain sight. And I have to tell you, I'm very proud. All over the country, you have architects that are coming out, that are going to news organizations. It's not the news organizations going to architects. It's architects going to the news organizations, waving red flags, screaming, no, something's very wrong here. Richard Lawton, I'm glad you're always here, Rich. Thank you very much for always supporting the show. Says, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Texas Paul, in this wonderful community. Batteries are recharging. Yeah, I'm telling you, folks. One, they have him doing this because, again, takes no short-term memory for a guy that's been in building buildings and renovating buildings and shit like that his whole life. That is all old memory. And he's doing it exactly like he's built everything else. He's going to screw contractors. There's money's going to disappear. There are going to be cost overruns that are going to cost us out of pocket. And then to maintain this monstrosity is going to cost us a frickin' fortune. And it's going to end up looking like a Russian whorehouse. McBastage, maybe another casino for him to bankrupt. He's building it exactly like that. Exactly like that. Yeah. I mean, folks, just look. You don't have to be a genius to know there's something very wrong here. Something very, very, very wrong here. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I hope it's better. I really do. And again, they have him doing this because he has no short-term memory left. I don't know how many times we have to see him humiliate himself on the national scale, on the national stage, before somebody starts asking questions like, what were the results of that MRI? Why did you have an MRI? Why is the President of the United States being given cognitive assessments? These are not hard questions. And I'll be honest with you, this corporate press doesn't want to ask them. They make a boatload of money off Donald Trump. Let me tell you something. Doing what I do, I finally learned that. I learned that. When Donald Trump, I always knew it, but when you see something happen with your own eyes and confirms things that you already know, it takes it to a whole another level for you. I always knew that the corporate media made money off Trump. Folks, I'm going to tell you, when I started doing this, when things are calm, when things are good, the viewership here plunges. Yeah, it does. On all my social media platforms, for my videos, everything. When things are calm, people are out just doing shit. They are. They're not here. When Trump does stupid shit that scares the hell out of everybody, our viewership explodes. We've got close to 3,000 people in here now, but you let Trump do something stupid, there'll be closer to 5,000 people in here with us. It's just the way it works. And the corporate media knows this, and they know for a fact this cult does not survive once Trump is gone. So if they ever start asking the questions about his cognitive decline, they know the party's over. The money train is gone. This is why they do stupid shit like run news articles about fucking monkeys saying, oh, they might have hepatitis C. They might be spreading that new strain of COVID. All of that shit came out of the corporate news when they knew that's not what those damn monkeys were. That's the state of our media today. Warbin 3, Trump is suing his own DOJ over the past investigation and indictments of him. He could appoint his own lawyers to decide the case. Just another absurd grift, and the taxpayers get screwed. Yep. He is definitely grifting as hard as he can. He knows he's dying. He knows he's dying. He's trying to scrape in every penny he can before he dies, and clearly doesn't give a shit about the repercussions of it. He knows he's not going to be here to face the repercussions of it. He knows he's dying. Skeet Sarah, 2018. Thank you for being here, brother. Did you hear E. Jean Carroll describe his behavior in the court case? Yes. Yes, I did. I've actually talked about him here. People get shocked when I talk about there and get what happened in that Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. Is the Ballroom Project Trump's way to get a new White House? No, I think it's his last hurrah. He is just stealing. He's going to steal as much as he can out of this project as fast as he can. I think everything that Trump does right now is about amassing as much money as quickly as possible, as fast as he can, because he knows he's not going to be here to face the consequences of it. Elijah H, is it High? Elijah High? Thank you for supporting the show. Keep up the good work, he said. Forgive me. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to cough into the mic. But again, this just goes to show the fact that we have no leadership and what is going on, just how awful Republicans are. This is sick. This is sick. You've got dozens of states suing the Trump administration over SNAP. Folks, SNAP isn't going to run out of money because they're out of money. No, they're going to run out of money because Republicans are choosing for it to run out of money. And I don't even mean it's just that they won't reopen the government and this, that. No, that's not what I'm saying. They have actively chosen to bankrupt SNAP. See, the USDA has a rainy day fund for just these situations. Something happens where they've got to have money to keep the lights on and keep things operating. And I want to stress this. Things like SNAP are such small parts of our governmental budget. They're not huge, folks. They're not, but they mean the world to the people that are getting them. They do. And folks, so they've got a $6 billion rainy day fund. They could keep SNAP going for a while. They're just choosing not to. And again, you've got state after state after state that are suing now to try to force them to use the funds they have available to them to do their damn job. See, the president is not a king. He's an administrator. He's an administrator. If Congress gives him money to do a job, he's got to do the damn job. And they're just choosing on their own to hurt people as a bargaining tactic. This is why I get so infuriated when people talk about both sidism. Democrats are just as bad as Republicans. No, you're a fucking idiot. Democrats have never done something like this. They are, and I want to stress this to you, they are choosing to defund SNAP. They have a rainy day fund. They could keep it going. They could keep people from not running out of food. They could do that. They have the money. It's there. And legally, they're supposed to. They're just choosing not to as a bargaining tactic. Hey, Democrats, You don't want to give us, let us get rid of those health insurance subsidies so that Johnny Got Rocks don't have to pay for it. We're going to hurt some people. And I tell people this over and over and over again, that this is every single negotiation with the Republicans. Every single negotiation with the Republicans is this. The Democrats say, hey, we need to do this for the American people. And the Republicans come back and say, you don't let us get rid of this and give, Johnny Got Rocks, who pays for my private club membership, another tax cut. I'm going to hurt some people. This is an in-your-face example. They have the money to keep funding SNAP. They have a rainy day fund that is there for that purpose. They are choosing to hurt these people as a bargaining tactic. And I want to say kudos to my Democrats for not taking the bait this one time. Normally the Democrats, this is right where they cave. They're like, we're not going to starve people. We're just not going to starve people. We'll fix this in the future somehow. But right now, we're not going to starve people today. This is where the Democrats typically cave. And they're not. They're sticking to their guns, and I'm very proud of them for it. I know a lot of people are going to get hurt, but Democrats aren't hurting them. The Republicans are. Lenat 9611 says Dumpy spent over $245 million on alligator Alcatraz tent in Florida. It's always a grift. It is. It is always a grift. Always. But yeah, this is why, if you follow me on social media and you pulled that both sides and shit and I immediately blocked you, this is why. This is why. We are not the same people. We are not the same people. Gail Burnell says, thoughts on Susie Wiles? Is she in cahoots with Miller? Why is she getting by with zero coverage? Yeah, you don't hear Susie Wiles' name at all. They have pigeonholed her. She is in charge of nothing. If you don't know who Susie Wiles is, that's Donald Trump's chief of staff. Again, compare that to prior administrations, how much you saw the chief of staff, how much they were involved in keeping everybody in line. There's nobody keeping these people in line. They're doing their own shit. This bailout in Argentina, this is Scott Bessent's best friend. They saved him a boatload of money he was going to lose down in Argentina. They get, and again, the Argentine peso is crashing again because the policies didn't change. We just stuck a lifeline out there long enough for Scotty Bessent's best buddy to cash out. Silly Bebo says they'd rather have us eat cake. Yep. Bluebird ZX6BN. Love to see the No Kings protest. They give me hope for the U.S. Greetings from Hamburg, Germany. Glad to see you. Glad you're here. Glad to have our international community. If you're part of our international community, please chime in. Folks need to know. I mean, your points of view and comments in the chat are incredibly important. Folks are going to watch this in replay. We got about 3,000 people in here right now. Another 30,000 people are going to watch this in replay. They need to see your thoughts. So if you're watching this on replay, make sure that you hit that panel button. If you're watching it on a PC, there's a button that says panel in the lower right-hand corner. Click that so that you can see the comments as they come, because the community here is just as important as the show I'm doing. Randy Ryder, 6776. Thanks for the big support, friend. Thanks for your continued truth. Keep saying Epstein. Keep saying 25th Amendment. Yep. And it will forever be the Epstein Ballroom. Hal Sparks did a great job coining that. He did an amazing job coining that. E.T. in the house. Yesterday, Allison Gill said it best, that people would not be on SNAP if the billionaires paid them enough that they would not need it. Yeah. You've got people that are working at Walmart. You've got soldiers on SNAP because the wages aren't there. Because you've got billionaires taking advantage of the poor in this country. So we have to have programs like SNAP. Parker Joyce, I wish I could give more, but I have a pile of medical bills. I've been in the hospital 3 times since the end of January. Both sides are not the same. Parker, I'm just glad you're here. Thank you. That was incredibly generous of you. I'm truly grateful. $5 is a lot of money, and I'm truly grateful. But you take care of you. Put your own oxygen mask on first. There's a reason they say that. But you be here, and your voice is what's important. Tiny Dog Dragon. He crowdsourced the money for the legal fees. Why would he get money back? Yep. It's a bullshit grift. They're just trying to grab money everywhere they can. Every single place they can. Look, I know I've been negative for a little bit. I want to drop in with something positive here. Let's keep it pumped up. Let's keep everybody happy. My California people, I'm going to talk to you for a minute. You got some good news coming in your way. There's a guy on social media that's really good about explaining this stuff on a non-technical level. His name is Mr. Global 2. I was flipping through. I like to hear what he has to say, and he brought this up. We've got a new pipeline. And I know there's a lot of people that are saying, well, that's not good for global warming, new pipelines. Yeah, actually, it's a good thing. California is kind of an isle unto itself. It's kind of like the electric grid here in Texas with ERCOT. That only serves the rich folks. Our electricity isn't cheaper because of it. It lets them avoid national regulation, and no, it doesn't serve us any better. Our electric grid here in Texas is famously unreliable. California has a similar issue with fuel. They're a bit of an island unto themselves. They're not tied into a bunch of pipelines and stuff that can help keep them fed. And everybody likes to take a look at those California gas prices and say, oh, man, they tax the hell out of that gas. That's why California is more expensive. Well, technically, really, it's not why they're more expensive. It's because they are kind of an isolated state when it comes to petroleum and petroleum products. They're kind of an island unto themselves, kind of like we are here on Texas with our electric grid. Firefly 25A, and didn't Argentina do a Doge style policy change before they needed the 40 billion? Who is going to bail us out when it catches up to us? These grifters making this typically sweet girl all ragey. Yep. I hear you, Firefly. I hear you. And yes, they did it to themselves. Argentina absolutely implemented a bunch of bullshit austerity measures and destroyed their own economy. And again, that $40 billion was pissed down a useless hole. The peso's falling again. The Argentine peso is falling again. That 40 billion did nothing but fuck our farmers and help out some good buddies of Scott Besson. Mr. Pilks, I've been here a while. How do I reply to others in the chat, Texas Paul? You just did. You could do an @ and their screen name. If you type in @ and then start typing their screen name, it will pre-fill for you, and that will highlight for them that you're sending them a message. But yeah, thanks for being here. But yeah, California, you got some good news. You got some good news coming. The Gateway Pipeline is being extended out to California. It'll be a few years before it's built, but your gas prices will probably come down 20 to 30% because of this one pipeline. Because the Gateway Pipeline is not going to be an oil pipeline where you're still screwed with just having a handful of refineries that have you bent over there in California. The Gateway Pipeline is going to be a petroleum products pipeline. You're going to get diesel and gasoline through that pipeline. It's finished product. So yeah, good news for you out in California. Your gas prices in 5 or so years will be coming down. Unfortunately, it'll take that long to build that pipeline because unlike the Ballroom, it's not a bullshit grift. It's real companies doing real construction. But yeah, and talking about how people are just doing their own shit and how we've ended up with a bunch of nothing but right-wing shit posters running every department. I am telling you, folks, it is bad. These are not professionals. These are not professionals. Agent Cajun John, thanks for being here, brother, with the big support. I really appreciate you. I'm glad to be here, my friend. I'm glad to be here. Glad to see you. Glenda Batzer, 9845. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting the show. But yeah, this just happened. Talking about again how these Pam Bondi's should never have been within a country mile of the Attorney General's position. She's just unqualified for it. Kristi Noem is dumber than a box of hair. They're right-wing shit posters. That's how they got their job. And they're blowing their own prosecution of Abrego Garcia. Thank God. I'm glad to see it. But the judge just read them the riot act. Just read them the absolute riot act about their public comments. There's a reason the FBI, there's a reason the DOJ doesn't comment on current prosecutions. You can poison a case. You can. And the judge is saying, we're there. We are there. You are tainting this case. I may have to dismiss with prejudice your case. I mean, literally warning them that, Attorney General Pam Bondi and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem hit with sanctions if they continue to pose a clear and present danger through their words to the defendant's right to a fair trial. I mean, that's where this is going. That's what's going to end up happening with Abrego Garcia. He's going to end up walking because they're so incompetent. They're so focused on social media shit posting to try to keep their base excited, their bigot base excited, that they are literally blowing their own prosecution. There is such a thing as poisoning the well and making it so a defendant can't get a fair trial. And the remedy for that is the trial goes away and the defendant walks free, which I hope is what happens in this case. Choice 6009, thank you for supporting the show, my friend. I appreciate you. Again, say it all the time. Can't do it without you. Spicy Jester, breaking news. GM to lay off 1,700 workers in 2 states that voted for Trump. Amazon already announced 14,000 workers getting cut. Amazon's up to 30,000 now, by the way. We've got layoffs all over the place. I wouldn't get into an economic segment on the show, but yeah, thanks for the comment. I mean, the layoffs all over the country are insane. Insane. Daryl Curson, thanks for supporting the show. I really appreciate you being here. I do. Thank you. But things are just not going well on every front for the Trump administration. And thank God, because they're just doing horrible, horrible things. Oh, that coffee's hitting good this morning. You just can't when you travel. You just can't get a good cup of coffee. Oh, you can get a good cup of coffee. You just can't get a great cup of coffee. It's really hard. It's really rare to find a place where it just really hits right. And I have to tell you, I got some at Biddy and Bo's. I stopped at Biddy and Bo's when we were in Annapolis. Got a great cup of coffee there, but it's really hard when you're traveling to get consistent good coffee. I'm glad to be home, folks. I am glad to be home. This happened. Court to reconsider ruling that allowed Trump to send troops to Portland. Yeah, it was a 3-panel. You know how appeals work. They'll do a panel of 3 judges in an 11 judge court will sit down and hear a case and issue a ruling. But things have gone so badly. And folks, I cannot stress enough, this is your doing. You did this. The full panel is going to rehear that decision and reconsider it. Trump is going to lose that case. He is. Everybody was shocked that this 3-judge panel ruled in Trump's favor in the first place. The 11-judge panel will not. He's going to lose his right to use these National Guard troops the way he's been using them. And it's because of you. Let me explain that. Mr. Pilks, how about Mr. Thin Skin being so bent out of shape about a commercial? Oh, yeah. What she's talking about is the commercial they ran in Quebec. And I'm not a big fan of Ford up there. If you know who runs Quebec, you know what I mean. But he did a great job with that commercial. All he did was play a commercial with Ronald Reagan's own words, talking about tariffs and how terrible tariffs are. And Donald Trump had a fit because he knows the impact that Ronald Reagan's words have on his cult. He felt like that was a personal challenge to his rule over his MAGA cult, and it was. And I have to tell you, folks, we are seeing. I don't want to give you too much hope here because I don't have a lot of hope for MAGA. But it really looks like we're starting to see a lot of fractures from all of the shitty way they run because they can't govern. They just can't govern. But we're starting to see a lot of those fractures appearing. Now, if they stay, I don't know. I mean, these are bigots you're talking about. Trump could get on camera and point to a person of color and say something ridiculous, and the bigots will typically fall in line. Peter Campbell in the house. Thank you for being here. Add another file to the insider trading stack. Treasury Secretary's friend bought massive stake in Argentina days before the bailout. Yep. Actually, he'd been dumping money in there for a while. He was screwed if that peso was allowed to continue to devalue. A lot of fertile ground for us to do some investigating once we take Congress in 26. Gail Brownell, some good news. Local man here in South Dakota is on the National Soybean Board and has traveled the world. He is now furious over the boat bombings and beef imports and is posting on social media. Yeah, there are cracks forming. Omniscient Sphinx, thank you for being here. Have you seen the new thing on social media? Are they talking about stealing food from Walmart and other places? I think it's BS and clickbait. Yeah, you've got a few accounts. There's always somebody to say something stupid. What he's talking about is there's this thing on social media where they're saying that things have gotten so bad. Fuck it, just steal. It's okay. And of course, that's what you hear all over the right-wing media. It's just a couple handfuls of idiots saying, "Oh yeah, we should all become thieves," and they're saying in right-wing media, well, that's us. That's who we are. The Democrats are just thieves. Like I said, they're just waiting to hear something that makes them feel better about themselves and talk bad about us. So yeah, I'm not putting a lot of faith in these cracks that are forming in MAGA right now. Hello, 1814. Let's just cut to the chase here. Is really thus the working class, the lower 99% versus a 1%. It's not even left versus right. It's poor versus rich. It is left versus right. It is. And I agree with what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I agree with what you're saying. It is poor versus rich. But the right are a tool. They feed them some bigotry. They tell them they're better than everybody else, and they're more than willing to do the bidding, to do the free advertising and free work of the 1%. So yes, it's left. The left that supports working people, supports unions, supports you and me just having a decent life, keeping the buses running on time, that's the left. That's the left. The right is doing the bidding of the oligarchs and any kind of, and they do it through these, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, and they run with it because they know they're bigoted and they want to say hateful things. So it is left versus right. It's not just, because the right they are the legion for the 1%. Victor Harshman, Trump, if I want to enact a certain act, I'd be allowed to do whatever I want. The courts wouldn't get involved. Nobody would. Aaron Rupar reporting. Yeah, they're saying it out loud, and I thank God they are because it's blowing up. It's blowing up in their faces. It really is. And I'll tell you, even talking about what I do, it's left versus right and how different it is. The right wingers, they're funded by billionaire oligarchs. They don't have to earn a living. They don't. You people make it possible for me to do this. And every left-leaning creator has to rely on their audiences. Right-wingers don't. They don't. They're all paid by the oligarchs because they know they're pushing the message that they want to keep that right wing more focused on hate and bigotry and everything else. Transgender people, one of the smallest minorities in this country. Not a problem, not an issue. People in transgender, I had a guy, a union guy, a left-leaning guy say, yeah, the Democrats are right on, but I don't want men playing women's sports. I had this conversation. And it was like a 30-minute conversation where I kept turning him and turning him. This is a smart guy I was talking to. And it kept drifting back to I don't want, Democrats are stupid on this one. They need to get away from that one. Democrats aren't there. It's the Republicans that keep saying that because they know it's a fingernail they can dig in. And this was not a hateful guy. He was just saying, look, it ain't right, man. Women will get hurt. Women will get hurt. It ain't right to have people do that. He wasn't being hateful. Folks, I'm telling you, we've got work to do. We've got work. That's what I was doing up on the Hill, was talking about the work that's ahead of us. And we'll talk more about that here towards the end of the show. So stick with me. Stick with me. There's a couple of messages I took up to Washington with me. But yeah, that judge went nuts, man. Called him out. It's going to go to an 11-judge panel. They're going to lose. This was part of the admonishment. The federal government has argued that federal officials working at the ICE facility in Portland were under attack, while city and state officials argue that local officers have control of the situation. Folks, you did this. You showing up in your frog costumes, you showing up in your unicorn costume, what you did on No King's Day. I'm telling you, the next show I'll download some. There's so much to download. I haven't, but I'm telling you, that No King's Day event in Boston, not only was it huge, but damn, even when we're pissed off, we're nicer people than Republicans. Even when we're pissed off and protesting, there were signs that said love. There were signs, people carrying flags. You did this. You destroyed their narrative of hate. That's why and this is why I want you to see that it matters. It matters. Even when you went out and protested, you were peaceful and the world saw it. You were funny. Hell, I met a dog. I did. I found a dog in Boston. I got a picture of it. Great Dane was out there protesting, had it dressed up with a crown and a cape on. Sweetest thing in the world. Just sweetest dog in the world. I'm telling you. Just trotting around. Those type of narrative matters. And you are controlling the narrative. And I want you to see how your actions are doing this. I want you to see what you're doing matters, because this 11-judge appeals court is going to rule against Trump because they lied and the whole world saw they lied. So don't quit. Don't quit. Keep protesting. Let the world see, for Christ's sake, a pastor getting shot with pepper balls in the head who's just sitting there ministering peacefully. These images matter. And I know it's not painless. I know it's not. I know it's hard. I do. I know it. But the number of people that showed up, and good Lord, Boston likes to smoke some dope. Let me tell you something. I gotta tell you, Boston likes to smoke some dope. I'm telling you, it's legal there, by the way. But yeah, there was, man, you'd be at that. It all culminated at a concert. and there was a big stage with no kings on it and this, that, and the other. And we're standing out in the crowd. And I had the biggest contact high you've ever seen in your life. I am not kidding. I mean, it was just every time the wind would blow, you get I'm telling you, man, these were people having a good time. These were people that were happy that, yeah, they're pissed about what's going on. And they're not going to suffer a king. They aren't. They won't always be happy. But that's not what's going on. I got to tell you, American cities are beautiful places. They are beautiful places. They really are. We'll talk about more of that at the end. Hello, 1814. The 1% controls the government through deep planning and strategy and an altered reality. One of the biggest challenges is to break their hold on reality. And that's what I'm saying you folks are doing. You're controlling the narrative now, and it scares the shit out of them. Keep doing it. Keep peacefully protesting. Keep being you, baby. Jason Crow voted early today in Connecticut. Voted blue across the board. It felt great. Glad you were back. I am glad to be back. I'm going to hammer this horse one more time. I'm going to beat this dead horse one more time, and I just want to, because I need you to understand that. Am I connecting the dots for you? This 11-panel appeals court is hearing this case and will rule against Trump because of you. Because you are controlling the narrative. You are showing that Portland is an amazing city. It's not some hellscape. When I was in D.C., I was going down to look at what they're doing to our damn White House. And right there's an upscale shopping district with some cafes and stuff like that. And I saw this. I wish I'd had my phone out. I didn't videotape this. I wish I had my phone out. But in the middle of this upscale shopping district where people were sitting out there at cafes, sipping their coffee, and it's a nice place. I mean, nice place. And it was a beautiful day with the sunshine. You got a half a dozen National Guard troops walking around, unarmed, just walking around. And it was so obvious how stupid this was and how bullshit the narrative they're pushing is. It's like, really, dude? This is what you're doing? Making sure everybody's latte is safe. Keep at it, folks. Keep at it, because we're winning. We're winning. Y'all remember this happened, right? Yeah, y'all remember this happened. Trump's bullshit with Alina Habba. He appointed her, and yes, he could legally appoint her to one term, but it's only for 120 days. And after that, Congress has to do its job. And they tried to just say, no, we're not going to do that. She's just going to stay in the job. And now we're finding out that no, she was there legally, and they're going to have to overturn everything she's done after that 120 days. At 121 days, she was not the legally appointed attorney in New Jersey. She just wasn't. So everything she did has to be either redone, repealed, because they just can't follow the law. And they thought they'd get away with it, but they didn't. They didn't. And that's the important part. The whole Project 2025 was to make them inevitable so that we just roll over and let stuff like that happen. And in event after event after event after event, they're losing. They're losing because you're standing your ground. You're doing it, folks. You're doing it. Arcana Clan. Republicans are even lying through the SNAP website to incite violence against immigrants and trans people. I know it's disgusting, but you know what? I'm so proud of blue states like Maryland and Massachusetts. They're putting their own messages out on their own state websites that are countering this propaganda, and I'm so proud of them for doing it. But yeah, this again, like I said, this continues to happen. People are not just accepting this. Judge rules LA's top federal prosecutor was illegally appointed. Yep. He could, Bill Asaley was appointed to the job. He could stay in the job for 120 days. After that, it had to go through Congress. And they just said, nope, we're not going to do it because these are such horrible people that they couldn't get them through Congress. because the Republicans are scared. They're scared because they know these hearings will be prime time. This is why they're keeping Congress closed so that they don't end up having to deal with this. Demetrius says Epstein. Yeah, absolutely. If they open Congress back up, they've got to deal with the Epstein issue because Alita Grijalva will be seated. She'll be the 218th vote, and every Republican will have to stand up and be counted. That's why they won't, guys like Bill O'Saley, they will not usher him through a congressional hearing because they will be too embarrassed about what comes out in these hearings. Because this is how horrible the Trump administration is, and everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting it. The narrative has flipped. 2020 Project 2025 has failed. It has failed. It doesn't mean they're not trying. It just means that it has failed. And I got to tell you, folks, I can't say it enough, are getting it done. And right now, I need to ask you for something. I've been pretty hardcore on some folks online. I have. There's some pretty popular left-leaning accounts that have been, clickbait's easy. It's easy. Clickbait is easy. If you just want followers, if you just want people to suck up to you and tell you you're great, you do the clickbait shit. And there's been a lot of people that have been, talking shit about Democrats and this, that, and the other, and scaring people, saying, look, I have been bucking the tide. There's been a lot of people, and some people on social media, it's just people that are really, truly, fundamentally, at their core, at their heart, are scared for our democracy. But I've been telling you, no, we're going to vote. We're going to do this. They're not going to stop us from voting because I'm not asking. If they try to stop me from voting, I'm going to vote anyways. And I've been telling you that's going to happen. But you've had a lot of people that are like, oh, they're going to stop us from voting and they're going to do, folks, I was right. You want to know how I know I was right? We're voting right now. We're voting right now. This is early voting. You need to get out and vote now. November 4th, they're trying to, that same narrative. They've got, and a lot of them are just bots, folks. They're right-wing bots to try to scare people to keep them from showing up and voting, that are saying, oh, they're not going to let you to vote. They're going to do these horrible things. And I keep telling you, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We're going to vote. You're going to get down. You're going to cast your vote, and it's going to count. And a lot of people have been attracted to these lazy clickbaiters that have been trying to increase their following by going along with the crowd instead of being a leader. Instead of being a leader and telling people what they need to hear and what the truth is, that we're gonna vote. It'd be a lot easier for me to sit here and just pander to all your fears and worries, but that's not what I do here. We're talking about real information. This is what's going on. Rising Sun, thanks for supporting the show. Thanks for supporting the show. Look, this is what's going on. Early voting is going on in Virginia. It's all over the country, folks. It's all over the country. You got Abigail Spanberger, who looks like she's doing great in early voting in Virginia. Get out and vote. If you're in Virginia, get out and vote for Abigail Spanberger. That's really going on. We're going to flip Virginia. We're going to put a Democratic governor in the state of Virginia. If you just show up and vote, we're voting right now. They've already been voting for days. So those folks telling you they're not going to let us vote. We already are. We already are. You got Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. You got Mickey Sherrill that's doing great up in New Jersey. We've already got a New Jersey Democrat up in New Jersey that she's going to replace, but we're going to keep it blue. We're going to keep it blue. We're going to douse old Shitterelli's dreams. But this is an important race up in New Jersey, and people are already voting. Get out and vote. Folks, this answers the question. I've been telling people, and even people here, well-meaning people here in our community have been expressing their fears, and I understand that. I understand expressing your fears. I do. I get that. But I've been telling you all along, no, we're going to vote. And I was right. We're voting right now. So go do it. Go get it done. Go get it done. Mr. Pilks, thank you for the support. How, I don't know what FO, you get to those, to the polls that sat on their butts last time. Hey, that's what I'm doing right here, right now. And Donald Trump is helping me out. As awful as he's been, there's a lot of motivation. People don't vote to say thank you. People vote to say fuck you. And there's a lot of reasons to say fuck you and get out and vote. Skeet Sayre says, we were all right about Republicans. I learned that in 1979 to 1980, kids played outside until neighborhood watch. I'm telling you, I am telling you, we have got to get it done. We have got to get it done. We have got to get it done. And it's not just Virginia and New Jersey. It's across the country, folks. It's across the country. They're voting in California right now. They're voting on Prop 50. Get out and support Prop 50. Get out and do it. We got to get this done. We've got to get this done. There are everywhere. Right now in the state of Texas, there's nobody on the ballot, but there are all kinds of propositions that they're trying to push through, some of which are horrible. Republicans are trying to starve our public schools. See, God bless Gavin Newsom for calling out Texas and our high taxes. Because most Texans thought, because they don't travel. MAGA doesn't travel. They don't see the world. They don't know other places. So when they told them, oh, your taxes are cheap, we don't have a state income tax, so your taxes are cheap. Well, Gavin Newsom came out and said, oh, no, they're not. Your taxes are higher than ours. That really hit home here in Texas. It did. And it did a lot of damage to the Republicans because people started asking. That kind of shit people get. It's not complicated. See, here in Texas, they hide taxes and sales taxes. We got really high sales taxes here, which means poor folks pay the taxes. And we also have property taxes that fund our schools. So one of the propositions here, and God bless the Texas Tribune. Look, folks, they're free. They are. I mean, they can use your support, but they're free and they do amazing work. You want real news? The Texas Tribune is on it. They do an amazing job. I can't sing their praises enough. And there's a donate button up in the upper right-hand corner if you want to help them out. But you can go to their website for free on just about any issue, and they're really good as far as just straightforward journalism. They don't kiss Democratic ass. They don't. They just call it out the way it is. But they've got a great breakdown on all the propositions here in Texas. If you're in Texas, they will explain every proposition to you in a clear way so that you can understand what you're voting on here in Texas. These elections matter. You're talking about, you got a lot of local races. You may show up to vote and there'll be nobody to vote for but some propositions or some rules. Do some research before you get there. But there's a lot of mayoral races. There's city council races. There's, get out and vote. Don't sit there on social media saying, oh, they're going to cheat and they're going to stop us. Well, I was right. We're voting. We're voting. I love Richard Ojeda. He's a friend of mine. He's a good man. He's a good man. He will be a great public servant again. Well, look, we're going to talk more about the trip in the next show, but I want to touch on it a little bit. What I did, just so you know, this was a working trip. I didn't just, this wasn't just vacation time. I did have some vacation time, but it was a working trip. Overall, the majority of it was a working trip. Linda Orndorff, thank you for being here. If you live here in Pennsylvania, please make sure you vote yes to retain the Democratic judges that protect our voting rights. Absolutely. Thank you, Linda. And anybody that wants to call in and hang out, I'd be glad to talk about it. I'll be glad to talk about it. Regina Hewitt, yes, Dominion is being run by the wingnuts. Folks, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, we Democrats are really good at counting votes. And if something's irregular, we'll catch it. We'll catch it. Look, one of the messages, there's a couple things that I went up to talk to people about. I had a great meeting with Julie Johnson in her. I was privileged to sit down with her in her office up on the Hill. And we had a great Congresswoman Johnson and I had a great conversation. And she heard me out. I mean, she had a lot of really good points. See, here's the thing. Why this was so valuable for me to take this trip. I got to see folks. I went to the Kennedy King dinner. I was invited by some union friends of mine. Got to sit at their table. It was a great privilege. Got to meet several very important. I got to meet Don Beyer there, Congressman Don Beyer. If you don't know who Don Beyer is, he is literally one of the smartest people on the planet. He is brilliant. He really is. He's a Democratic congressman from Virginia. I mean, this guy's smart. I mean, super smart. He does things like, they're having to legislate about AI. He's got several advanced degrees. So he said, you know what? People rely on me for information. I want to know what I'm talking about. He's gone back and he's going to George Mason at his age. He's going to George Mason University right now to get a master's degree in machine learning or AI so that he can legislate on this appropriately. This guy's fucking brilliant, man. He really is. But yeah, that's just the way he rolls. Something's going to be in his wheelhouse. He's going to have to do his job. He might as well know what the hell he's doing. I got to sit and we had a great conversation at the Kennedy King dinner. And I'm telling you, this is what I saw. And I want you to know this. This is what I saw. The legislators I met with were all, to the man and woman, convinced that they are doing a great job. And they all told me about the initiatives they're working on for you. And you know what? They're right. They are doing a great job at that. They are. Then I sat down with my union brothers and sisters, and they're very convinced that they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job representing their people and their people's interests. And you know what? They're right. They are. They are. They're doing an amazing job. Then I got to sit down with just a bunch of people, because this is part of what I wanted to do on this trip. Was I just wanted to sit down with the average person. And I wanted just to hear what people thought. And I will tell you, it was surreal to me. And I opened a lot of eyes on this trip in every region. Everyone, I did. Everyone I sat down with. The congressmen and women I sat with, as smart as they are and as talented as they are, and the great work that they're doing, didn't really, for the most part, get that you were looking to them to be social leaders, to be in there throwing elbows and fighting the fight with you that you're fighting. They were just doing their job, the job you want them to do. And when I told them things like, look, I need your help because we have to come up with a democratic identity. Right now, you have Republicans, and I showed them some communications from farmers that I took with me. And I showed them, I said, look, I want you to read this. This guy's a Republican. He's a farmer, and he is dying right now. And he ain't reaching out to us. We've had his back from the get-go. You've done your job to make sure this guy's okay, and you're going to do your job in the future to make sure this guy's okay because he provides our food. But look at him. He's not reaching out to us. These farmers were begging Donald Trump to please change your point of view. Please stop hurting us. And I pointed out to each and every one of them because we have no alternative to offer him. We do legislatively. We've always done the job, but people don't vote to say thank you. His self-identity is being a Republican, and everything he's been told about what it means to be a Republican and what it means to be a Democrat. And we've sat here for decades and we have let Republicans define us. And that's when I would ask them, tell me what a Democrat is. And these were legislators. And they didn't have a good answer because they're just focusing on doing their job for you. This big picture stuff, the long-term fight. And I told them, I said, look, we need a Democratic identity. I need to have something to offer this farmer. Now that he's hurt and his ears are open, I need to have something to offer him, an identity he can grab onto and be proud of. And I'm telling you, folks, it resonated. It resonated. It hit home. I mean, they got it. These are smart people. They understand that the kind of loyalty that Republicans are getting out of people because they spent decades doing it. You know, for the last several decades, if you drove a truck or worked in construction or did whatever you do for a living, and that AM radio was playing, you heard Rush Limbaugh, you heard Glenn Beck, you heard, person after person after person telling men in this country, mostly men in this country, this is what it means to be a Republican. And you're Republican. And because you're Republican, you're the backbone of this nation. And they got an identity, a self-identity from that. We Democrats have never done that. We never have. And that's what I'm going to do going forward. Because let me tell you something. If there's one thing I've seen, and I sat down with some family that also happened to be Democrats when I was up there. And I looked at these people. And these folks I was like the young spring chicken in the room. But every one of these people, I mean, these people ran nursing programs. I'm talking about developing educational systems to train nurses. These people served in our military at a high level. These people are in unions. I'm talking about running unions. These people were making different, nobody you've ever heard of that have devoted a lifetime to making this country better. That's what a Democrat is. That is our identity. And we need to start screaming that from the rooftops. We can't avoid this fight any longer. This we're not going to dirty our politics with this personal stuff. It's going to be about the policy. We know we're smarter. We know our policies are better. Now we have to show the world that we are better people. And that will be my focus going forward. And that's why I absolutely despise these left-wing creators that come on and they badmouth Democrats. I will never badmouth a Democrat. I will never badmouth a Democrat. I will find something good and decent in every real Democrat out there. Henry Kojas, don't be intimidated. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Skeet Sear, my company is trying to make AI replace me. Folks, it is a fight. That fight right there is a fight that we Democrats are going to have to get, to stay ahead of, and they already are. I'm talking to these people. They're well abreast of the situation. They know where this is going. And it's only the Democrats that give a shit. ET, that is part of the job, messaging, and they need to do that continually, not just once, constantly. Folks, let me tell you, I sat and I watched these folks, and they think, they believe this, that the good work they're doing is the message. They think they're messaging. They do. They think they're messaging. And it was kind of a shock to them, the things that I told them. Because here they've been patting each other on the back. Yeah, we got this legislation through. Touchdown. To have old Texas Paul sit there and say, that don't mean shit. That's just the basics of the job, was really kind of a wake-up call for a lot of folks. Arcana Clan, what does Donald and Pumpkin have in common? Orange on the outside, hollow on the inside, and should be tossed out in early November. That is great. That is great. That is great. Let me tell you, I got together with a bunch of assemblymen in Virginia, and I assured them of this, and I need you to let me know if I told these people the truth. I told them, if they will get in the trenches and they will fight this redistricting fight, that we've got their backs, that we're okay. Yes, we hate gerrymandering, but we know that the Republicans are doing it. Melinda Hirsch, thank you for being here. That the Republicans are doing it. Carrot H 8452, where's our project 2028? That's what I'm talking about here. That's what I'm talking about here. We have to develop our own democratic identity. We have to have a push to put together a deal that we're offering the American people. But it's got to come from a point where we say, hey, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm a Democrat. I'm a proud Democrat. I'm a proud Democrat because we're better at governing. Proud Texas liberal. Paxton is suing Tylenol. I would love to be the corporate attorney representing them. I'm telling you, that is just the stupidest shit in the world. That's going to be a great story to follow. Skeets here. We already have heroes, have the Dem establishment give AOC, Crockett, and all the rest of the progressives a platform. They do. They do. They do already. That's what I'm talking about. You hear what they say. Nobody's preventing you from hearing Jasmine Crockett. You hear Jasmine Crockett. Lonnie Johnson, did you meet Fetterman? No, I did not. I did not. But what I did do is I met with a bunch of assemblymen from Virginia and Don Beyer and a couple of congressmen from Virginia, and I assured them that we have their back on this. They are pushing redistricting Virginia. We're talking about picking up 3 seats in Virginia. And I have assured them that while we don't like gerrymandering as a whole, we understand that it's necessary to fight back against the Republicans that have no morals and no values. So redistrict away. We have your back. We have your back. And I need to hear from you that I tell them the truth. They need to hear from you. If you're in a blue state, I am telling you, I talk to these people. I hear their unvarnished opinions and I keep their confidences. And I'm telling you, they need to hear from you that it's okay that they're doing this. Because right now, the common perception is Democrats are good, moral, decent people, we don't gerrymander. And it's only some Democrats that have figured out we've got to get off that damn high road. We cannot fight with one arm tied behind our back. And I've assured them that if they get on that low road, if they grab their fact batch, they get on that low road and they go to work, that we will have their backs. Now, what I need from you is I need you, one, to get your ass out and go vote because we're voting right now. And two, I need you to reach out to your Democratic congressman and tell them it's okay. It's okay. We don't like gerrymandering, but we've got your back because we know we have to do it to stay in the fight. The Republicans that are a smaller, they're a minority in this country, have held too much power for too long. And we need to start leveling that table off. Silly Bebo, I'm a Democrat and I actually give a care about you. I'm also a Tylenol American. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Arcana Clan, Republicans almost prevented states from changing or enforcing their AI legislation in the BBB. Wrongful AI auto denials not ending would be tragic because the Republicans are pandering to their billionaire donors that want to use AI to put a lot of people out of their jobs. So I know we've been at it for 2 hours and the audience is slowly tapering off, but I'm willing to stay in here. I am willing to stay in here if you got any questions about the trip or anything like, because I got to tell you, New England is fucking amazing. It really is. You've got to travel, folks. You've got to. Now, Boston ain't cheap, brother. I'm going to tell you, Boston is more expensive than New York. It is not a cheap trip, so prepare yourself, but go. I got to see old Ironsides. I got to rest my hands on Faneuil Hall. And I'm telling you, the energy you get, from resting your hands on the same building that Sam Adams and John Otis and everybody planned our revolution. I'm telling you, you pick up energy from that. Because if those guys could do it when death was on the line, we sure as hell, we can do it now. And go in autumn. I'm telling you, Massachusetts in autumn is one of the most beautiful places on earth. It is. Arcana Clan and old people in graves. Damn Republicans. Yeah. Republicans don't give a shit. We are not the same. I will not put up with that. I'll throw you right out the airlock if you give me that bullshit about we are the same. We are not the same. We are fundamentally different people. But went to Bunker Hill. Like I said, went and saw old Ironsides, the USS Constitution. It was closed. I had to break a few rules to do that one, but I did. Jumped over a couple. Had it walled off. I had to kind of do what I wasn't supposed to do to get some good pictures, but I got some good pictures. Arcana, free Luigi Mangione. Very proud of his attorneys. Did you see they're getting those terrorism charges thrown out? Good on them. Breeds Hill, yeah. Bunker Hill Monument is not on Bunker Hill. People don't know that. It's on Breeds Hill. There were two hills standing right next to each other, Breeds Hill and Bunker Hill. And the majority of the fighting went on Breeds Hill. It's where Prescott made a stand, and then the English, just standing there looking down this hill, you can just envision the English trying to wave after wave coming. It took them 3 tries to finally take Breeds Hill, but that's where they built the Bunker Hill Monument. It was on Breeds Hill, not Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill has houses all over it. Beautiful, beautiful houses. But I have to tell you, the people, I'll tell you one story. There's an Irish pub across the street from the hotel, and we would go down there and we would drink beers and just chill out and talk to people. Because I'm telling you, some of the best conversations I had. I met a guy He was an executive of a company that is, we Democrats have always been about being smart down on the border. We have. We're not anti-border security. We're just like, do it smart. Well, this guy works for a company that does it smart. They're using AI, they're using drones, they're using balloons. He works down here in Texas. His company is working on border security right here in Texas. He lives in Boston and he stays there. He's not moving to Texas. I am telling you, folks, you do not feel the difference. You don't know what it's like. Massachusetts is one of the most educated states in the country, if not the most educated. Somebody correct me on that one. I believe Massachusetts may be number one as far as college educations are concerned. You feel it. It feels different. It looks different. The people behave differently. Even people that did not agree with me. We had conversations. It wasn't some dumbass screaming vile shit. I'm telling you, you have to travel, folks, and get up to New England in autumn. It is absolutely beautiful. But I'm telling you, I'm sitting here with this guy, and we're sitting here drinking beers, talking about border security and talking about the politics of it. And what he's afraid of and his company's afraid of is that people are pissed at him because he works on border security. I'm like, no, we Democrats want border security. We just don't want a stupid fucking wall because it's stupid. It's a waste of money. It's inhumane. It interferes with wildlife. It's just dumb. And me and this guy totally agree. Totally agree. And you know what? They're saving lives because it's a desert down there, folks. It is a desert down at the Texas border. And you have people, human traffickers that don't really give a shit about people, that are marching people through that desert. Folks, they're saving lives with this security. When somebody gets in trouble, they can find them using AI and drones and hot air balloons. It's smart. It's smart security, not stupid, not a fucking wall, 1300s technology. No, smart. And this guy, I assured him, I said, no, we Democrats love what you're doing. We want to improve our immigration system so that people can come here and work and do what we need them to do. They can build a good life. They don't have to be trotted through the frickin' desert. That's what Democrats want. Smart border security, intelligent, immigration. We have the technology to do it. But no, you've got Republicans that want to throw red meat to their base that are so stupid they think a wall works. Have you ever heard of a fucking ladder? Jeremy Breeden, late to the show. Hope you enjoyed your travels. It was amazing. It was incredible. We went through Massachusetts. We went through New York. We went through Delaware. We went through Pennsylvania. We went through Maryland. We went through, Jesus, I can't remember all the states. Connecticut. We went through Connecticut. It's just beautiful up there this time of year. It really is. Found one of my favorite things is in Annapolis. We found a Pennsylvania Dutch market. Oh, I was this close to not coming home. I was this close, man. I'm telling you, those Mennonites that run the Pennsylvania Dutch market know what the hell they're doing, brother. I had a scrapple pretzel. It was they call it a pretzel log. It's a pretzel wrapped around, I had one that was sausage and one that was scrapple. I'd never been a huge fan of scrapple, but I'm the kind of guy that likes Spam. So I'm like, yeah, let's get one of those scrapple. They put scrapple in there with farm cheese and then baked it inside a pretzel. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was so freaking good. Whoo. Makes you wonder what extravagant menus they plan to serve the elites while our citizens are worried about food insecurity and cut of SNAP benefits. We're not the same. We are not the same people. We are not. Well, look, folks, I'm well over 2 hours, and if I keep going, nobody's going to watch this because it'll be just too long of a video. So I've got to call it quits. I hope what I've given you today has been useful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the show. Cannot do it without you. I'm glad to be back with you. I'll have pictures for you in the next show from the trip. But yeah, folks, you're doing it. You're doing it. We're winning this. We've defeated Project 2025. And we're going to win this. It's going to take work. We're going to have to be vigilant. You're going to have to get out and vote. And you're going to have to keep at it. But I'm telling you, folks, I've shown you in today's show, you are winning this. So keep at it. Keep at it. Rising Sun says, I agree, but don't put down Democrats. Stand united. Amen, brother. We're voting right now. If you see anybody on social media shit-talking Democrats, you give them hell. Because we're supposed to be turning out the vote right now. That's what we're supposed to be doing online. Turning out the vote. And if they don't know that, they need to shut the fuck up and find another job. On that note, enjoy some Texas cities at night.